Remember that time we celebrated 10 Christmases in one year?
Yes, I don't think I'll ever be able to forget it. We had divorced parents, Christmas parties for work, family parties, grandparents, friend parties, all the Christmases.
Yeah, we felt like we had commitments that we had to make. So how do we think through that and decide as a couple how to be one as a team moving into the holidays?
We want to give you a simple framework for how to make this Christmas season more peaceful and less chaotic for your marriage.
So the year that we celebrated 10 Christmases, we're exhausted. We had so many commitments, overload. I'm surprised we actually made it through that Christmas season. I can't believe we said yes to all those things.
Well, and people think, how did you have 10 Christmases? A lot of people have 10 Christmases. They just don't realize it because we said, yeah, I mean, we have divorced parents on my side. So it was divorced parents, in-laws, and then we had grandparent Christmases, and then we had 2 parties for work Christmases, and then we had friend Christmases. And so by the end of the season, we were exhausted, and our kids, we paid for it. That I remember thinking, no one else has to go home with overstimulated toddlers, but we did because we sacrificed our sanity to make sure we went to everything.
So we got the overstimulated toddlers with garbage bags full of toys who are just ready to just play and have a blast. And we want to make it fun for them. We want them to have an enjoyable Christmas and all, but we had full commitments like over the top.
Sometimes I think the full commitments, you miss even the point of the holiday.
Yeah.
Like I don't think we allowed our hearts to slow down and rest and reflect and be present.
Yeah, to even like enjoy. We celebrated Jesus's birthday, right? We always do that with a birthday cake with the kids and celebrate that. But I feel like our hearts weren't even in that place. And even like, I would say it didn't even feel like we were all on the same team.
Right.
We were just like kind of surviving like, hey, you get this, we get this, and then we'll go.
Yeah. I mean, we were tag teaming and taking care of the kids, deflecting comments that family members had made that felt hurtful, right? I mean, no one has a perfect family. So you throw family in a big room and feelings get hurt sometimes. And so we're deflecting that. We're talking about where we want to be, where we don't want to be. And some of it, I felt like we dragged each other to, and sometimes we both wanted to be a part of something. So how do you survive? How about not survive? Let's change the word. How do you thrive during Christmas in your marriage and your family, but know that there could be a lot of commitments coming your way?
Yeah, I think if we're talking about having peace through the holidays, what does this look like? And I think we can go through the 4 Ps, right? So the first is we just even need to pray together, get our hearts in the right place in order for us to both know, man, our hearts are surrendered to what King Jesus wants to do during the holidays. And also I think for us to be able to share values after we pray, like what are the values that we want to be able to share that help guide us during this season? So that might be, we really want to be inviting for those that aren't involved. So we want to be invitational, or we want to be generous without going into debt. What would be like another value that comes to top of mind?
I think one of the things we've done for the last few years is, like you said, kind of praying, like who does the Lord bring to mind? There are a lot of people in our lives who don't have family or don't travel back to home for holidays. And so who can we see and invite in to celebrate with our family that may have a harder season because they don't get to travel. They don't get to go be back with family. So that's been fun to adopt that with our kids and invite people in to that space. Yeah,
allow them to be a part of that process of even inviting them into that prayerful time of like, okay, guys, as we're praying about the season, is there anybody that the Lord is putting on our radar to be able to invite in for the holidays?
So if we're going to pray, I think it starts way in advance before Christmas and everything sneaks up, right? Because typically we find that most couples come to us or are reaching out to us this time of year because they're getting in arguments. They're overcommitted. They are learning how to do Christmas with, if they're newly married, both sides of the family,
Yep.
trying to figure out rhythms, but also trying to become their own family and start traditions. And so we often will say, like, preparation starts way before. So you're praying obviously during the holiday, but leading up to the holiday. So if you're starting months before, I would say you're praying, but then you're also preview. We say preview. So another P for your piece is to preview your calendar. So usually what that means is we'll bring out our calendars and we'll talk through all of the things that have been kind of thrown at us that we've been invited to, or that we feel like we need to be a part of.
Or even what we expect to happen and expect to come, because we may be planning, but there's so many of these events that happen last minute because people weren't preparing in all that way. So it's like, hey, by the way, would you be able to come on Thursday? It's like, okay, let's just have a game plan of what that looks like.
Well, and to your point, if we're prepared, it allows us to be able to truly say no to things because we've made a commitment. I mean, we were talking to a good friend who was just sharing holiday plans and said that, you know, they were invited to another Christmas get together on the 26th of December. And he said that him and his wife had already talked about they were keeping their calendar clear from then until January 2nd to do nothing and be present with each other. And so whereas if they weren't prepared, it could have been this like, well, we should probably go and this family member is going to be there and they're not going to be there the week before. But they were just able to go, we've already made a commitment to each other. And so, but when you're planned and you have that already in place, it's a lot easier to say no. Hey, next time, if you can let us know further in advance, or we'd love to join you, but we have plans already.
Yeah. So the value that they shared and determined was rest. They just really needed a time of rest, and they were going to prioritize that.
Yeah. What's your value for this season?
I would say
for us,
I would say rest.
Yeah.
Because we go so hard, so fast. School's going to be on pause. A lot of ministry, end of the year push and everything. It's a busy time of year for us all. So to have a time of rest is majorly priority for us, I would say.
Yes. And as we've talked about that, what's so good is then we have gone, oh man, there can be an opportunity every night to do something, whether it's just as a family or with other families or friends. And one of the things that I appreciate about us choosing this rest is knowing that our calendar is going to be pretty open in the sense of if we look at it, it's not going to look typical for us, whereas we have things on different nights but we're choosing to do more things with just our family. We're choosing to rest and do nothing. Yep. And nothing isn't being lazy. It's sometimes for us, it's that we're just enjoying being home. We're enjoying the small things that we do as a family.
Yeah. So as we're praying about what's coming up, we're then previewing our calendar, just trying to get an idea of what it is. But then the third P is we need to prioritize all the things that are on. So for us to be able to have from a rate from 1 to 10, which one's most important for us missionally, which is most important for us in our values, and then for us to be able to know what is most important.
Well, one of the things that I love that you've kind of challenged me in is usually one keeps the calendar. So I keep the calendar typically.
A paper calendar.
Yes.
I'll keep the digital calendar.
I know you don't like my paper calendar. It's fine. But I mean, I'm the one who usually schedules things with people and I'll say like, hey, let me talk to Mike and I'll get back to you. One of the things that has been encouraging that we've done is you've said, hey, I need you to write out, since I won't text it to you or digital calendar it, but write out all of the commitments or all the things that are coming our way to be able to look at and prioritize. Yeah. And so then we can kind of go, okay, does this fit with that value of rest for us? I know that sounds really fun. Yeah. But does it fit? And that's where it gets hard for me because I'm a people person and I like to party and I like to have fun.
Serious case of the FOMO.
I do. I really do. And so I don't want to miss out. And so then you're usually like the strong backbone where I bring it to you and you're like, hey, that sounds awesome, but it doesn't line up with what we're going for our family and our peace. And always by the end, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad that you made that decision,
Mm.
but it is hard. So it takes both of us, I think,
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we mean of working as a team
Mm-hmm.
is I can't always be the no person. You
Right.
can't always be the yes person, but it allows us to process through that together to how are we aligned in the midst
Mm-hmm.
of this and what we're saying yes to.
Well, and I think what we've realized is when we can write those things down and you kind of help think through, we can understand, does this cost us some of our, like, what's the cost of saying yes to this? Is this
Yeah.
costing us some of rest time, some peace? Is there relational strains with
Mm.
people that are going to be there? Do we need to count like an emotional cost? A lot of us can have unhealthy family stories. So are we choosing to go back and back and back to unhealthy family patterns
Mhm.
and then watching one or both of us kind of slip back into habits or things that aren't good
Mhm.
for us,
Yeah.
right?
Yep, totally. And those are things that just can happen naturally.
Mhm.
And I felt like that happened to us for a few years until we actually realized like, oh, hey, every time we do this, this is happening,
Mhm.
right? And helping bring that to the surface so that again,
Mhm.
this is supposed to be a time where we're preparing our heart to be able to celebrate the birth of Christ. And there's so many things that are trying to distract us from
Mm.
the true celebration of the birth of our Savior.
And when we have those values, I think what helps is it becomes really a lot easier to know what to say no to, even if it's immediate family stuff.
Yeah.
So even thinking, I was talking to a young couple the other day. Well, I was just listening. They didn't ask for my advice, so I didn't give my advice. But the wife was talking to the husband of just like, yeah, we have this celebration. And he's like, why are we going to that? Like, if I'm just being truthful, I don't really want to go. And she was like, well, I don't know that I really want to go either, but we should probably make an appearance. We haven't seen those people in forever. And then they just kept going back and forth of how it feels more stressful. It feels there's relational hardship between one of the couples that are going to be there. And so as I'm listening to them, I'm just thinking like, well, they've both said that they don't want to go, but they both feel this pressure of like, well, we have to go because we have to show our face and see these people. We haven't seen them in a long time. And if they would have asked my advice, my thought was like, well, does this line up with like your mission for the holiday? And if you truly are seeking good community, you have to stop saying yes to things that are just sucking you dry and are not going to build into what you're looking for as a couple to be supported in, as a family to be supported in. And so like the cost felt really high and the mission felt super low.
Yeah. No,
right?
Absolutely. And I think that that's where even being able to talk that through as a couple just helps, because what may be, you may not know that going to this work party is a total missional component, because I've been sharing the gospel with these two guys and I want them to meet you and for us to be able to and maybe invite them to Christmas service and all. So I think for us to be able to talk that through in order for us not to make assumptions and or have weird expectations in the midst of that.
That's key. And I think you have to understand it's not like you're going to enjoy everything you go to. So there probably are those times where you're like, man, I don't really want to go and do this again, or it's really hard for me. You know, some couples have a story where it's like, it's really hard for me to be around your family, but this is part of it. And so I think just that missional mindset of like, man, Lord, who can I see? Like, how can you help me love, fill in the blank while I'm here? Or I remember you got really good just with my family of just asking questions. You would tend to find, because it's such a big family, like you would find somebody and just ask intentional questions. And I know a few of them would always just say that they felt seen by you and that you would, that you cared. And so how can maybe couples kind of turning their attention to, instead of just finding the negative, like how can they serve and love and see people, right?
That's so good. So we're praying about it. We're previewing our calendar. We're setting what our priorities are based on our mission and values. And then lastly, we just need to have a plan of how we're going to communicate that. Like, what is it going to look like? So one important value that we have is we take priority talking to our families. So I
Mhm.
will talk on behalf of us to my family. You will talk to your family on behalf of us.
Mhm.
And that's always worked out better, being able to take that lead in all. But
Mhm.
what else do we need to think about as we're thinking about planning how to communicate what we're going to be doing for the holidays?
Yeah, I think even what you just said is so key and so good. A lot of fights happen between couples when, let's just say, I'm talking to my mom about something and I say, "Yeah, I think that's going to work great. Let me just check with Mike, but I'm sure it's fine."
Hmm.
And then I go and check with you and you're like, "Hey, that's the only free night we have."
Hmm.
And so then when I go back to my mom and I'm like, "Hey, it's just not going to work." It feels like that can be all on you.
Yeah.
And so what we've learned is, hey, I think that sounds like an amazing idea. I'm not sure that's going to work for our family, but I will get back to you and let you know. And so making it more of a us than a, yeah, that's probably fine. I'll just double check
Yeah.
with Mike. And
Man.
so
Yeah, I
I
wish
like
we
that.
learned that earlier on, right?
Yeah,
Of like your spouse can't be your scapegoat.
right. Well, Mike said no
Yep,
again.
totally.
Yeah.
Oh, seems like Mike doesn't want to ever hang out.
Yeah. But I do like that ownership piece because it is hard because it's like your family has traditions, my family has traditions. Anyone who's listening knows that reality. So instead of me rubbing the wrong way against something, it's just the two of us going, what do we as a family need and want? And then how do we communicate that?
Yeah.
What's hard about that is there's expectations. Well, we've always done it this way. This is how we've
Mhm.
always celebrated Christmas. Or there are just real heavy opinions in place about how things should be done. And the reality is that we aren't here to people please. We're here to be good stewards of our holiday. And then when you have kids, our individual family as well.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think we have to create even space for us to we have convictions of how we want our kids to experience Christmas and all
Mm-hmm.
that may be a little bit different than what we grew up
Yeah.
in all. And that's got to be just again as a team
Mm-hmm.
forming that and bringing that to our kids and allowing them to experience,
Mm-hmm.
Jesus in this way.
Well, even love over the years, we've modified our plans sometimes. So it doesn't mean we say no to something, but we've modified it. So for instance would be, if Christmas is that we go hang out with cousins and grandparents, we will take the whole morning and be at our own home with just our family.
Mhm.
Presents, we can, read the story of Jesus' birth, we can do a fun breakfast, have family time.
Watch the
For us,
parade.
for us we do mini donuts, and so we can still do that, but then we kind of go, yeah, we'll come over, but we won't be over till later. Or we've invited even family into our own home, into our space of
Mhm.
like, well, if you want to do like the Christmas morning thing, you have to come to us now and you're welcome to come watch and be here at this time. And so I think you just have to get flexible
Yeah.
and figure out what works best for your family, your sanity, because I won't forget those years that we crammed in way too much. And when we had exhausted toddlers and no one else, I just remember like, no one else has exhausted toddlers and that are overstimulated and not sleeping. Everyone else is getting a good night's rest. And it's like, just again, what is God asking us to say yes to? And what are the ways that we can celebrate the holiday
Mhm.
and not end up in the hospital with sicknesses and things that are just things that we don't need to be a part of.
Yeah. So we can pray as a couple.
Mm-hmm.
We can, um, what was the second one?
We can,
Preview our calendar.
yeah,
We can prioritize,
yeah,
and then we can just plan how we're going to be able to communicate that.
yeah. Remembering that we're on the same team,
Yep.
tackling the issue together, creating a holiday that is peaceful and served in a way that we can serve each other, love our family, and be able to keep our eyes on what the holiday is all about.